Welcome to Besiege Bots, the real home of robotic combat in Besiege. In this episode, we will see the first batch of featherweight competitors try to come back into contention after being thrown into the redemption round. In our first fight, we have a fun scrap between two crocodile-themed bots, and in the later half of the episode, we see both Tilted Disaster and Cool Boy, last year's third place finisher and runner-up, try to regain their footing and climb back towards the crown. Croc and Awe ended up on the wrong side of a decision to last year's champion Dippy, but put up a good fight for a newcomer. In this bout, they take on a vertical spinner in Rogue that has poor turning speed, and will look to outmaneuver and control their opponent on their way to a decision. Rogue had a poor showing in its rumble, having its weapon compromised in the early going and being KO'd after being stranded on its back. Style and Substance Robotics will look to throw their opponent around in this one and likely look for an Uda or Pit KO. And kicking things off in episode 7, we have the battle of the two crocodile-themed bots. Croc and Awe should be fairly obvious. It's just a combination of Shock and Awe and Crocodile. And Rogue, a little more obscure, is named after an Australian monster flick about a giant crocodile. Good throw early from Rogue. And it kind of tips forward on that one, which it's a bit susceptible to doing, but gets pushed against the wall. Good throw again. And we actually got a good hit on the side of the lifter from Croc and Awe. That's pretty good driving early from Rogue, but Croc and Awe looking to get around to the side of the weapon. Rogue looking to keep it in front. Rogue is very interesting, but it doesn't turn very fast, but it turns just fast enough to be annoying and hard to drive around. So Croc and Awe decides to just go underneath, and they almost actually got behind and got it clamped there. They're sticking behind that little spike there. Now they're back in front, but they're pushing Rogue into the wall. Good job controlling them. Rogue spins down to jump over Croc and Awe. Smart decision. Big throw from Rogue. That was a good hit. Some sparks on that hit. Rogue getting some good hits, but it's mostly grinding away on that front, unable to get some good bite. Croc and Awe gets them dangerously close to the pit. Can they get them in? No. Oh, they throw them away from the pit on the backswing from the grabber. That's unfortunate, but good control there from Croc and Awe. They're behind. They're still going to be looking to get that grapple at some point here. And there they go for it. It's a good grab, but actually their wheels end up lifted off the ground because of the geometry of Rogue. That's quite funny. They got the grab, but it actually was not beneficial to them. Rogue got a weird hit there and flipped itself over. Mostly just grinding away on the front again. Croc and Awe doing the smart thing of keeping Rogue in between Croc and Awe and the pit, so that if they recoil backwards, they'll bounce into the pit. And they are always trying to move away from the pit when Rogue is trying to close down on them using their superior drive. It's an interesting battle as far as the teams are concerned as well. You have a kind of middle-of-the-pack team who've been around for a while in Style and Substance Robotics, and a new team in the Hydra Initiative who have a really solid first bot here. Good throw there from Rogue. Oh, and Rogue takes that top grappler off. That's really good. Gonna score some damage for that, and as long as their motor remains intact in this one, which it should, because there's not going to be anything putting pressure on it, then they will get the damage points at the very least. And so far they're probably winning style as well, because they're self-riding quite a lot, and Croc and Awe hasn't done much stylish outside of that one very nice grab they got. Just grinding away on the front. Croc and Awe is up very heavily on control though. Possibly also up on aggression, because they're always chasing down Rogue and pushing them around. There's another good throw from Rogue. Croc and Awe backs off a little bit to try and get good positioning. They're trying to look to get around to the sides so they can try and push. Good shove there. They got some speed built up and just slammed into Rogue and pushed them over. And that's time. We'll see how the judges saw it. Croc and Awe on aggression and control. Damage goes to Rogue. Style goes to Rogue, but it's a 23-22 for Croc and Awe. So Croc and Awe moves on to the round of 16, and Rogue is unfortunately eliminated from Spring Bash Cup. Jawspin had a disappointing performance in its rumble, being KO'd pretty early on by Wasted 3 before they could show off their spinner's power. Here they aim to show what they can do when given a chance to fire up against a vertical spinner. Purple Heart fought valiantly in its rumble, but ultimately lost a decisive decision against Bluebird. In the redemption round, they want to prove that they're not only sturdy, but capable of earning a KO against a dangerous spinner in Jawspin. We're underway with fight number 2 here. We have Jawspin and Purple Heart, and Purple Heart just lost something off its left side motor. I think it might have been the counter reaction wheel, or it might be part of the motor. I'm not sure if it's the motor or the counter wheel, but either way, it's definitely going to be a bit of a hindrance. I think it might have also just lost a steering hinge from that side part of the chassis, which means it could break if Jawspin gets another good hit on that side. Jawspin starting out well early, which not really expected of this bot, but Purple Heart took some decent punishment in its rumble, getting flipped around a lot by Bluebird. Oh, and there goes a wheel off of Jawspin, I believe. It's going to hinder their drive a little bit. Some decent hits early on, but nothing huge. Oh, that was okay. Well, there you go. Huge hit from Purple Heart there, and they come thundering across the arena to try and close down on Jawspin. Jawspin seem to have lost some more wheels, and they're probably getting counted out here. They've definitely taken some damage. Purple Heart's backing off. Yeah, they're getting counted out. They can't move. Unfortunate for Jawspin there. They had a pretty good start as well. So that's going to be Purple Heart moving on to the round of 16, and Jawspin is eliminated from Spring Bash Cup. Cockobird came into this tournament as a fun, well-themed bot. It had a tough time in its rumble after being stuck in a corner due to a part of the bot that was still attached being outside the arena. In this fight, they look to show they are not just here to look good, but also to win. Tilted Disaster was able to disable the weapon on Wasted 3 in its rumble, but unfortunately had sustained too much damage prior to that point and was rendered immobile. They come into this fight the heavy favourite and will look to make quick work of their opponent. Here comes fight number 3. We've got the Fun Walker and Cockobird. Gonna be a big underdog against last year's 3rd place finisher in Tilted Disaster, but it's a pretty solid bot. It's not easy to KO. It's doing, Astro Robotics doing a good job of turning the weapon the correct way to hit the leading edge of the spinner of Tilted Disaster, which means their weapon bar is contacting Tilted Disaster's weapon bar and knocking them upward. Not doing so good a job of it there, but they're eating the hits. Oh, they sniped the motor! Wow, this is huge for Cockobird. This is going to be... like, nobody thought they were going to win this fight before it happened. When this fight got announced, nobody thought this was a possibility, so this is huge for Cockobird. They have a very good chance to win now. Tilted Disaster, though, is actually doing a really good job getting behind those plows of Cockobird and controlling them. Which is basically all they can do right now. And it's gonna be how they have to try and win this fight, is just control Cockobird with that kind of dustpan front they have. It's actually a surprisingly good bot without the spinner, Tilted Disaster, now that I think about it. It's got a pretty good dustpan wedge there. Definitely doing a good job keeping behind those plows, but they ride up a bit there, and Cockobird gets the spinner back in front of them. But that, like, slight oversteer. Cockobird, once it starts turning, it's hard to stop the momentum of the turn, because it's so heavy. Which is a problem. They're doing a slightly better job of trying to get Tilted Disaster in front of the weapon. Oh, okay, never mind. Tilted Disaster carrying them across the arena. Over near the pit. I don't think there's any danger of them going into the pit. I just can't see how Tilted Disaster would do it. They could maybe use their self-riding pneumatic to try and flip them, but that's a huge risk because of how heavy Cockobird is. It could just break the pneumatic. And then if they got flipped, they'd have no way of self-riding. Cockobird really need... The weapon just unfortunately isn't getting the bites they want when it is contacting. Like, like it hit there, but they actually got thrown backwards. That was a better hit. They need more of those. Oh, that... Oh, no. That was a... This is... Oh, well, maybe. Oh, and Tilted Disaster gets back up before being counted out. I feel like Cockobird's driver should have been more aggressive there, knowing that Tilted Disaster can self-right from that position. They should have tried to be more aggressive and just attack and maybe break the self-right as he tries to self-right. But, not to be. They're doing a better job keeping them in front of the weapon now than they had been earlier in the fight. Yeah, that was a good hit. They got out of the control from Tilted Disaster. Ooh. Tilted Disaster trying to look to get back around those plows, but Cockobird doing a better job now. This is a very close fight. It's going to be interesting to see how it gets scored, because Tilted Disaster is definitely scoring a lot of control, but they're losing pretty heavily on damage because their weapon got disabled. Cockobird stopped hitting them there, and that's time. See how the judges saw it. Yeah, aggression, control go to Tilted Disaster, and style, and damage goes to Cockobird, but it's not enough to take the decision. Tilted Disaster goes to the round of 16, and sadly Cockobird is eliminated from Spring Bash Cup. Coolboy comes into this contest after a fairly poor showing in its Rumble, where it was KO'd by War Games and wasn't able to deal much damage before that point. Boybot Robotics believe their spinner is still more than powerful enough to compete and want to show they are still a threat to take the crown. Falkenrath suffered an unfortunate KO in its Rumble after breaking off its own wheel mount while attempting to self-right. In this fight, they'll look to prove their Hammerlifter hybrid is more than just a fun idea and can cause an upset against last year's runner-up. We finally arrive at our main event for episode 7 here. We have Falkenrath against Coolboy. Coolboy, last year's runner-up, had a really good run through the tournament. Falkenrath, a new bot, has an interesting design, but showed it has some pretty frail wheel connections in its Rumble, which is not good news for it coming up against a powerful spinner like Coolboy. This will definitely be a tough fight. Falkenrath lose a flamethrower there. I think that's pretty much just decorative. I don't think it makes a difference. Falkenrath deciding to go and use the front as kind of a wedge to deflect the hits from Coolboy. It's a pretty sound strategy. They're trying to trap them in the corner, but Coolboy refuses to spin down, risking a grabber explosion to get themselves out of the corner. Probably a good decision. Good flip attempt from Falkenrath. It's taking the hits pretty well. It's avoiding getting hit on the wheels, which is the main thing it needs to do in this one. Oh, but it's kind of stuck over, which is the position it ended up in last time, but it gets back over with no problems. No big problems, anyway. Oh, and it eats a big hit to that wheel. It can still drive, though, and there goes the rest of the wheel mount. I don't think it can drive now. The driver is trying, but they're not really crab walking effectively, and now they're just kind of flailing around. Cool Boy goes in for another hit. Let's see what's happening. They're trying to kind of get back into a position where they can drive. Cool Boy's doing a little victory dance, driving away. There's what it is. They've been counted out. Kind of to be expected, but Cool Boy wins by KO and moves on, and sadly Falkenrath eliminated from Spring Bash Cup. That's it for this episode. Our 4 bots heading into the round of 16 are Croc and Awe, Purple Heart, Tilted Disaster, and Cool Boy. Meanwhile, we have to bid farewell to Rogue, Jawspin, Cockobird, and Falkenrath. In the next episode, we will complete the featherweight bracket redemption round. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing. If you're interested in joining our community, follow the Discord link in the description. From everyone in the Besiege Bots Discord, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.